This is Michael Finch, the Chief Operating Officer of the David Horowitz Freedom Center. I'm sitting in for Wally Pip, Jamie Glazov tonight. Jamie couldn't be here, but and I won't call it the Finch Gang. Jamie wanted me to, but this is the Glazov Gang. So I'm really lucky. It's my first time doing this, but I'm with three real superstars. So I just have to kind of coach and manage. I kind of feel like you're the Lakers and I'm Mike Brown, although that didn't work too well for Mike Brown. But we're going to give this a really good go tonight. We've got three tremendous guests, Dwight Schultz, Bill Whittle, and Paul Croshaw. I'm going to start. Dwight Schultz, you've been on the show many times. You're known. It's really embarrassing. It's ridiculous. You were Murdoch on the A-Team. A lot of people know you as that, and also Star Trek. You've been on Broadway. You've done over 9 films, over 30 TV shows. You've a huge career. So it's really an honor to be on the show with you tonight. Paul Croshaw, director, writer, producer of Baseball, Dennis, and the French. Fabulous film. I urge everyone to see it. Just terrific. And there was one thing on your website which I loved, promoting Judeo-Christian values through media and the arts.
Correct.
And one thing, we could win every election from now until the end of time. If we don't win the culture, we're going to lose this war.
Right.
So, and you're all three in battling the culture. Finally, and this is a real honor, Bill Whittle, blogger, director, political commentator, PJ Media. You've done Firewall. You're also the co-founder of Declaration Entertainment. So you're all in the battle. You're in the belly of the beast in Hollywood. So it's a real honor to have you all here tonight. We've got a lot of topics. We could spend an hour on the fiscal cliff. But we've got to start with that, and then we'll try to get into some other things. And I'm guessing the great compromise of 1850, this is not. Harry Reid is not Henry Clay. I'm going to start with you, Paul. What's your initial thoughts about what happened over the last few days and last night?
Well, it's funny because my opinion kept switching back and forth. When I first heard it, I said, "Oh Lord, what did they do?" And then I started getting used to the idea. Okay, now we're going to deal with the tax cuts, and we'll be okay. Let's go tackle that monster. But then I saw Obama's press conference after that, and he said the same old stuff again. We need to invest in our future and invest in our education, invest in this. He has no plans to cut anything, in my opinion. And we keep getting fooled and fooled and fooled, and I don't want to go down that path anymore. That's my gut feeling right now.
Bill, I'm guessing you're not fooled either.
I just don't care. I don't think anybody cares. I think the entire country looks at this whole thing as just a giant kabuki play, done by people who are dealing with something that is no longer the government because it's no longer based on any law. You haven't had a budget in almost 4 years from the Senate, and the reason you don't have a budget is if you don't have a budget, then you can't be over budget. That means you can just spend as much as you want to by fiat, and there's no accountability, there's no yardsticks, no measurement. We did a segment earlier today where somebody described this constant debt ceiling and this constant kicking the can down the road as like Charlie Brown, having the football pulled away by Lucy. And I said, I used to watch that show and really hate Lucy and feel sorry for Charlie Brown. Now I hate Charlie Brown. Yeah. I do. I think he's an idiot, and I think he needs to kick Lucy. I think instead of trying to kick the football 50 times, if he just kicked Lucy once, then she'd hold that football the next time.
But Bill, what's also interesting about that is that everything they do has a political motive too. It's not just we want to just keep spending the money, but they have angles and they have to maneuver. They're constantly doing that. Why even do that?
Well, Dwight, I wanted to bring you in and ask you one of the things that, there's a lot of pork in this bill, and you forget Hurricane Sandy. Right. They talked about disaster relief from storms in last year that affected the Gulf Coast, and that's how they got Republican senators from Mississippi and Alabama to sign on to this. And there are some good people. Last week we would have thought Jeff Sessions, Ron Johnson, there's some really good people that voted yes for this. What happened? Where's the spine for the Republicans?
Well, there is no spine. I mean, I agree with Bill here. There is no spine. The Republican Party is dead. I mean, there's not a single prominent Republican who will stand up and defend conservatism and the Republican Party and tell the American people the truth about the man who sits in the White House. It just doesn't exist. This is this man who is a socialist Marxist, neo-Marxist, has been reelected and has promoted illegality. The Constitution is there. You have Seidman, who just came out from Georgetown University, as a heinous document, the Constitution of the United States. I was applauding that because that's the way Democrats actually think, and we are watching the process. And without a budget, Why aren't Republicans literally standing up and calling the President of the United States a gangster? That's what they ought to be doing.
Yeah, they wouldn't.
And you fantasize. About this particular event with the cliff, I fantasized about Republicans saying, okay, you want to raise taxes on the very wealthy people who make over $1 million. We'll give you that revenue. Only if we have commensurate cuts to lower the deficit. And you throw that out there, then the president, what is the president going to say? No, I'm not. Well, he didn't give them anything. He made fun of them.
Doesn't even matter, though, because
doesn't.
Ronald Reagan in the 80s agreed to a $1 tax hike for every $3 in cuts.
Right.
And they got the dollar tax hike, but they never got the cuts. Then George H.W. Bush agreed to a $2 cut for a $1 tax raise, and they got the tax raise, but they never made the cuts. This deal apparently is a $44 $44 tax raise for $1 cut in entitlement spending, and they're not even going to get that. So it doesn't matter what the ratio is. It doesn't matter. Look, there's a real simple. You're absolutely right. We got to stop talking about this like this is a government now. We got to start talking about this as what it is. This is a spending addiction. When people say to me, well, how was this spending going to stop? I say to them, how much cocaine will a cocaine addict do, Mike? He'll do all of it.
Yeah.
He'll do all of it.
Yeah.
The cocaine addict won't go, I'm going to keep a little in my back pocket for next month in case I don't have any cocaine then. An addict will do all of the drug that there is, and then they'll go out and steal and whatever they have to do to get more of the drug, but they'll never just stop. And so that's how we have to look at people. And you have to explain to the American people, first of all, it's both parties, but you really have to say to them, listen, if I gave you a checkbook, and this checkbook was a checkbook where you could write a check for any amount for anything, and you will never have to pay that check, but the check will always be good. And here's a credit card. You can swipe it anywhere for anything at any time. It'll never be declined, and you'll never get a bill. When you understand the power that has over your psyche and how corrosive that is, now you know why you're in this situation.
Well, let me, Paul, I'll ask you. I mean, you mentioned that the majority of the Americans see this as kabuki theater, and I think we do.
It's an insult to kabuki theater.
What I worry about, though, is
structure in kabuki theater.
Yes.
There's
no
no
lot of
structure.
work, a lot of real work involved.
What I worry about, and Krauthammer and others have been praising Obama, not that they like what he's doing, but he is showing leadership, and he's completely rolling the Republican Party on this. The Republicans are leaderless right now. So Obama seems effective. He's destroying the Republican Party, causing this kind of civil war. Paul, what are we just waiting for that leader to rise up in the Republican Party?
Well,
where do the Republicans, John Boehner, I want to get into, is John Boehner on his way out? Maybe he's out. Maybe he's already resigned by tonight.
I doubt it, but they don't have a microphone. The press just won't report it. Dwight, I'm not sure if the Republicans jumped up and down, screaming and yelling. I'm not sure anyone will hear it. That's a big problem. And there's no one who, and of course Prager talks about this all the time, there's no one to articulate the big picture message about values. That those people want to spend your kids' money, and those college kids who voted for Obama, you guys are going to pay for it.
But I disagree with you here because you have an example during the campaign when Obama said, you didn't build that, and it was ignored by the media until Romney started saying it. And he was saying it about Obama. Then they had to cover it because the man who was supposedly the standard bearer for the Republican Party was making it an issue. If you called Obama and stood up and said, you lied about your mother, you lied about your father, you lied about your relationship with Bill Ayers. You lied about Jeremiah Wright. You gave Bill Ayers $100 million. And you said you didn't know him. And that's the way you're running the presidency. If you did that and took it to him directly, he would have to respond. And the media would have a field day.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The media would have a field day calling you every name in the book. But the truth is, that's right.
We talked about this, Bill. We talked
Maybe
about
you're
Dwight. You and I spoke about this earlier. The only person that took Obama on was Hillary Clinton. She brought up Jeremiah Wright. All this came up during the primary. McCain never wanted to touch any of it. What's it going to take for is there?
Well, they were calling Bill a racist too when they started doing that.
Well, that's what we say. They're going to call him every name in the book, but they still took, and then they backed off. Is that what the Republicans need to do? I mean, they need to start fighting as the
They
Democrats
need to do those
it.
conference calls. Don't they do a conference call every morning like the Democrats do and get together? What's going to be the message? What can we
I don't
gang
think
up?
Democrats do
You know?
anything
I
together.
think it's much
Yeah,
simpler. I think it's really, it
yeah.
really is just, it's just as simple as Dwight said. It really is. You just have to have somebody with nothing to lose, and they just got to get out there and just speak the truth plainly and calmly. And when people hear the truth, they know the sound of it. When we did the Restoration Weekend down in Palm Beach, I said this is what Mitt Romney would say if he really believed his own life story. It's what a Republican would say if he really believed that this civilization was worth defending. And you say these things plainly, and people respond to that. And it really is going to take somebody who's got nothing to lose. And look, here's the first thing the Republicans need to understand. The whole thing, as I said down there, is this is all Stockholm Syndrome. When all of the movie stars and all the TV stars and all the pretty girls and all the anchors and everybody else and all these people are poised to call you a racist or a murderer or a bigot or whatever, you've got to simply, this is the salient point, is you've got to understand that if you're nice to them, they're not going to stop calling you this. They're going to call you this no matter what you do. No matter what you say or what you do, you're going to be the racist, you're going to be the bigot, you're going to be that's why you have to play offense. And Mitt Romney, I think, was the most qualified man ever to run for president. He's certainly the most moral man ever to run for president. But Mitt Romney didn't believe his own life story.
Which is a great
he
story.
He ran from
It is
his
a
own
wonderful
money.
story.
He ran from
I
his money
can't,
as if he was
I
a
can't
sinner.
understand, though, how come we did so well in 2010?
Because we were ideologically motivated in 2010.
And what happened?
2010 election.
We should have that could have been parlayed.
The 2010 election was about the Tea Party trying to stop Obamacare. Period.
That's right.
Period.
We told the truth about it.
That's right. And
That's
we've
right.
only
Well,
run the last 3 elections that we've run on conservative principles were 2010, which was the second biggest flip of the House of Representatives in history.
Right.
1984, where we only won 49 states, and we were 5,000 votes short of winning 50 states, and 1980, where we won 45 states, or 46, or whatever Reagan won. So every single time we've run on conservative principles, we don't just win, it is a historic landslide of epic proportions. When we decide that we're going to be more like the Democrats, we lose, and we lose by ever larger margins. And when I found out about the 2012, there's one statistic, and that's all you need to know. If Romney had gotten McCain's numbers, Romney would be the president.
That's right.
Which means that a bunch of conservatives sat out in 2008, and even more of them sat out in 2012.
They said they were going to do it too. I mean, there's
to me
it's a wonderful website called Free Republic, and they said no Romney, we're sitting it out. This is not a conservative. And when Romney walked away from the Benghazi thing,
Well, that
and
was
just
that debate. Yeah.
when he walked away from that issue, I think anybody who said I'm going to vote for somebody because he has principle just said, this guy doesn't have it.
On Bill's point, he didn't run in the fervor against Obamacare that the Republicans did in 2010. And maybe that's because of Massachusetts care. I don't know. But he didn't take on that issue. It became almost a non-issue.
Romney's a manager. The purpose of the presidency, if there was ever a time when the actual duty of the president was, in fact, chief executive officer, those days have been gone for 100 years. This government is so gigantic. There's no one human. It takes an army of humans to administer this thing, and it's administered incompetently in the best of circumstances. The function of the President of the United States, not a figurehead, not like the Queen of England, he has actual power. But the function of the president is to be a leader. And what a leader does is he articulates a vision, and then he convinces people to walk with him towards that vision. Now, Obama had a very vague vision, and the reason his vision was vague is exactly like Dwight said. He can't give him what your real vision is. The great one of my favorite expressions is, liberals want conservatives to shut up, and conservatives want liberals to keep talking. Because when they really do talk, if you look them up especially, you find out guys like the constitutional law professor who writes in the New York Times that our Constitution needs to be trashed. Try and sell
it's
that
evil.
to the American
It's evil.
Well, Obama in a PBS interview years ago said almost the same thing.
Yeah,
he said many of which are never brought up.
Right.
They never talk about what Obama really believes.
But as I said,
Why?
Well, why?
Why?
What? Listen,
We all know why.
we
Because he's
do-
black.
That's right.
They don't
That's right.
bring it up because he's black. And to not bring it up because he's black is as racist as
Right.
bringing it up exclusively because he's black. And this is the third rail that has every single conservative politician terrified.
Right.
And you have to look. Here's the one thing I learned from Andrew Breitbart, Mike. these people will always construct a trap for you, and the trap is predicated on their unearned moral superiority. And once you realize what part of the question or what part of the equation grants them the moral superiority, when you take that away from them, it's over. Yeah. And just very, very briefly, I was at Oberlin College, and I was talking to, it's the most liberal college in America, and this kid in the Q&A says, some 18-year-old white kid telling me about black America. And he says, so you're against affirmative action, huh? I said, yes, I am. He says, why are you against affirmative action? I said, because I'm not a racist like you are. What do you mean I'm a racist? Do you believe in affirmative action? Yes. Then you're saying that a kid should be able to get into college with a 650 because he's black and a white kid needs an 800? I don't believe that black people are stupider than white people. I believe they can do just as well as white people. You're the racist who thinks that they're stupider and need to have lower standards. and from that point forward,
it's over.
It's over.
Are we hitting the point where America's kind of fed up? We've had enough. Where people are going to start listening to that kind of message and say, this affirmative action, the white guilt, and all this. Yeah. We're going to say, without having a racial backlash, where we go, which I think what the left would say, there's going to be this white backlash in a bad way. But can't there be a backlash in a reasonable way where we say, we're not going to put up with being called racist anymore? Are we hitting that point where we just say enough?
No, you have
to
do what you have to do what Bill just said. You have to turn the tables on them. I mean, there's so much. Look, you have Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who put words into the ambassador from Israel's mouth, Michael Oren, that he didn't say. She lied, and then she lied again. Not a single member of the Democratic Party admonished her. She's there today saying, this is just the beginning of these new taxes. What is she doing there? Yeah. Why isn't a Republican, why isn't the Speaker of the House demanding that she be removed, reiterating what she said, that this is lie? And the reason is, of course, is because everything that Barack Obama does is a lie, and he loves it.
I think a lot of Americans see that. But obviously not enough.
We've got the ammunition.
It's the trap of the question. It's exactly like Dwight was saying. For example, somebody says to you, if I'm a Republican senator or a congressman or president, somebody says, well, Mr. Whittle, you're a Republican. What's your message to black people? The response should be, well, which black person are you talking about?
Yes. Yeah.
Which black person are you talking about? You mean which group? No, I mean, what's the name of the individual that you would like me to address? Because if you're a business owner, or if you're working in a dry cleaning shop, or if you're an employee at Walmart, or if you're Herman Cain and you own these gigantic businesses, I think the Republican Party has better answers for you in all of these cases as an individual, but I believe that a black business owner, a woman business owner, a gay business owner, and a Hispanic business owner have much more in common as business owners than they do as a member of these tribes that these evil, vicious bastards have divided the country up into. And when you start calling them that and say that they have placed all of these tribes at war with each other simply so they can cling on to power. And when you get to that aspect of it, people start to listen to you.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, hopefully some of our leaders start talking.
They won't. They're cowards.
I think we're almost done with segment 1. So we're going to be back very shortly with segment 2. But thank you all so much for joining us, and we'll be back very shortly. Thank you.